If you've watched some of my other videos, you will hear me talking about when you come to value land that it's really an equation of taking the selling price less all the costs involved of developing that house, the profit margin, and that then leaves you with a residual, which is the land value. But how do you know how much the house is going to sell for in the first place? Now, the most obvious way to assess that is to go and ask an estate agent or to perhaps hire a surveyor. A couple of drawbacks with that is that it's fine to go and ask an estate agent for one or two properties, but if you go and consistently ask them for lots, they're going to get pissed off with you if you haven't built up any sort of relationship. In other words, if you haven't sold a bunch of properties through them, then that's going to become a bit more of a strained relationship. Clearly, if you employ a surveyor, that's going to be expensive if you have to do that multiple times. So what I want to do in this video is to give you the 5 guiding principles that I use when I look to value or place an end value on a piece, on a house, so that I can determine what the land residual value should be. So these are the guiding principles. Essentially, it's the same methodology that a surveyor will use. Hi. My name is Jim J. Davidson and I'm a property developer. I first got involved in property in 1973 at the age of 16 when my brother and I purchased a flat in the student area of Edinburgh. My current company, Fineside Developments, was established in 2003 and we completed our first new build in 2006. This channel is really dedicated to providing you some of the things that I have learned along the way. I'm not an expert. I don't profess to know everything, but what I do know, I hope, will help you on your property journey. So the first principle would be to look at similar houses to the one that you are looking to build, or several you may be looking to build. So you look at what's currently on the market, what is the asking price for those properties, and in the current market, whatever that market happens to be at the time that you're looking at this video, is the market rising? Is it stagnant? Is it falling? So you would make an assessment. In other words, are people achieving their asking prices? And depending on which country, the UK that you're in, they'll have a different methodology. So in England, what generally happens is that the asking price is above what you would expect to get for the property, and somewhere depending on, again, on the market, they will offer probably below that. If it's a particularly strong market, then they might offer the asking price. Rarely does it go for more than the asking price. In Scotland, it generally is one of 2 methods. There's a fixed price, which means simply you offer that price and you are able to buy it at that price, or it's an offers over price. And again, depending on how the market is moving, it can vary considerably. In a buoyant market, I've seen offers over going for 15, 20, 25% in a particularly strong market. In a weak market, maybe not even achieving the offers over price. In other words, it lowballs. Again, it will depend on how long that's been on the market itself. So you have to make an assessment with those asking prices. Not the most reliable, but it gives you somewhere to start. So the second one tends to be a bit more reliable because you're looking at actual sold prices. In other words, what did properties in that area sell for? So you obviously have to know the type of property that you're looking to build and look for similar properties. Now, depending on where that is, that may be more difficult. In other words, if it's in a country location, then you're going to have to look for similar properties in a country location. And you'll probably not find something that exactly matches, so you're going to have to make some judgment. But you're just trying to get an overview of the market and a feel for the market. It will vary from county to county, so certain counties, just by their virtue of their postcode, have a higher value than others, which is sometimes a bit strange because Within those counties, there can be more affluent areas and less affluent areas, but generally a particular postcode will lift a price up in general terms, and then you have to look obviously more specifically to those particular postcodes and look within those postcodes, what do properties actually have they sold for, should I say. And the third one is looking at the square footage or square meterage of the house that you're looking to build. So you can find average statistics for an area. Zoopla, for instance, publishes that. They will publish what the average selling price within a certain category, so whether it be a flat, a detached house, semi-detached, whatever type of house it is, and then generally what they are finding that the properties sell for per square foot, and then they will list how many properties that calculation takes into account. So clearly, if it's a low number of properties, then it has much more error built into it. So if there's only 2 properties, then they could have a large error. If there's like 20 properties, then it's going to be a much better average. However, you need to be careful with that, because I often find, particularly with Zoopla, that prices can easily be overstated. In fact, if you own a property, you can go in and have Zoopla adjust the price. Now, you've got to have some justification for adjusting the price, but I have seen, in fact, I tried it as an experiment once, and I got an absurd valuation for a property that I owned, which was about 20% above what the market was. So you have to sort of be careful with that, and again look at that in the context of history. But it's just another guiding principle. A fourth consideration would be the number of rooms that a house has. So you need to look at the number of public rooms and the number of bedrooms. Of course, you exclude bathrooms, utility rooms, toilets, and so forth in that equation. So you look at that, and then you can make some comparisons with what's on the market and what has been sold. Many of the mainstream builders use this as a way to push up their prices. So a house that really should only be a 3-bedroom house, they squeeze in a 4th, and that has the effect of them being able to justify a higher price for that house. Of course, fundamentally, the size of the house is important. So even a 4-bedroom house that was, say, 120 square meters against a house of, say, 3 bedrooms that was 250 square meters, clearly the larger house is going to be more valuable. However, on that, I would also say that there's also an additional principle, is that as you start to get into the larger space, there is a diminishing return on the valuation. So if, for instance, the square footage equation was that space was going to be worth 2,000 a square meter, and let's say that you had a house of, say, 250 square meters, and you assess that, so that would be what, 500,000, $500,000 for that house, and then you took a house at say 350 square meters, then you would assume that that house therefore is worth 700,000, but it's not likely to be. So it's going to be somewhere between that 500 and 700. So realize that there is a diminishing return. And how would you establish that? That's again going over the principles that we've already talked about. And the fifth one is to do with the fact that it's a new build. New builds are similar to new cars. Once they are owned once, in other words, even just for a couple of months or a few weeks, they are second-hand stock. And so that changes the dynamics of the whole situation. So with a new build, it's brand new. People like the idea of that. If you were to offer them one a couple of months later that somebody had already lived in, then it's going to have devalued in price from the new build price. The second point I would make on there is a surveyor valuing it has a degree of latitude. And so when they price a new build, they are allowed to have an error of between 5 and 10%. So you can see that could be quite a significant difference. So as a new build, the tendency is, particularly in a good market, that the price is going to be pushed to the higher end of what's expected, particularly if it's a fixed price. And more than likely a surveyor is able to justify that that is the correct valuation. And finally on that, a new build does not require a home report, but a property that's been lived in for just even a month requires a home report. And so therefore, what the effect of that is that it's going to be constrained by the value that a surveyor puts on it. And they will go through the similar exercise that we've gone through already, but they will be a bit more cautious because this is a second-hand property, even though it's virtually new, and therefore that will have an effect on the valuation and the price that you are likely to be able to get for it, should I say. Whereas with a new build, you can set it at pretty much whatever price you like, but of course the market will determine what that is ultimately value, because if you value it too high, then the property is just not going to sell. So you have to have a realistic valuation. But with this realistic valuation now in place, then you can work out your build costs and everything else that goes into that to establish whether you have a viable project, providing that you can buy the land at whatever the residual price is that you determine it to be. So as we move into April 2021, we will be launching the membership site and membership app, and we will also start the running of the Find It course pilot. And so this is an opportunity, if you're looking for land, to notify us that you'd be interested in finding out about the pilot course, which will help you from finding land that's not on the market, has low competition, negotiating a reasonable price, working out all the cost implications, and concluding that to a deal that makes sense for you. So if you're interested in that, click on the header above if you're on desktop, and you'll find a link to sign up for the app, and also to notify that you are interested in the Find It course. And if you're on any other medium, then have a look in the description below and you'll find a link there also. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, would love you to do that. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Currently, at the time of recording this video, we've got just under 300 to go. So your help would be really much appreciated. If you've liked this video, please give us a like, and then go and have a look at some of the other videos, particularly if you're new to this channel and you haven't seen them. We're up to approaching 60 videos now, so there's plenty of content there for you to consume. And thank you for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos, then click to watch the next video. Please remember to visit our website at builditandprosper.com, Together app, or click on the button on the YouTube header if you're on desktop.